Be speaking on guarding our skies, saving our lives, the age of UAVs.
In the 2008 hit movie Iron Man, a fictional reporter asked Tony Stark how he felt being dubbed the Merchant of Death because of his revolutionary yet deadly weapons technology. While he mostly played off the question and cracked jokes, I believe this is a crucial topic to examine in our present day, where many countries are vying for power over each other using this technology, destroying many lives. I also have a personal connection to this query because when a lot of people ask me what I plan to do, I tell them I plan to develop jets or drones for the military. They ask, are you okay with your inventions killing people? Aside from the fact that this is a loaded question, it also assumes one thing, that drones are innately sinful to develop because they kill without repercussions from afar. Challengers to drones fail to see the good that can come from them. Despite drones' cold lethality, the U.S. must continue to pursue developing this technology in order to fulfill its God-given mission of protecting its citizens from domineering nations. To illustrate the benefits of drones for our military and our duty to continue building them, I will begin by solidifying the obvious. They are invaluable on offensive missions. Next, I will demonstrate their unique ability to provide support for and protect both military machinery and, more importantly, human lives. Similarly, I will explain their unique tactical advantage that they provide, disproving the argument that they can simply be replaced by jets. Additionally, I will examine what they cost us, the taxpayers. Furthermore, as we must do in every discussion, we will look at what the Bible says about how to use this technology responsibly. Finally, I will address the popular counterargument and fear that drones lack responsibility because of anonymity. Before I delve in, let me quickly define some key terms that I will use throughout my speech. The first, drone. As defined by dictionary.com, and as many of you already know, a drone is any uncrewed airborne device, especially a small one, that is piloted remotely or autonomously. These can range from the tiny drone you buy your kid for Christmas to the 30,000-pound military drones used in war. To differentiate what type of drone I'm referring to, I will use terms such as UAV or FPV. FPV stands for first-person view, is often seen and used by videographers or drone racers where the operator is flying it from the perspective of the drone. They typically have 4 propellers in a single plane that give them lift and cost around $150. Additionally, the term UAV refers to unmanned aerial vehicle. While this is almost a direct synonym for the word drone, and therefore FPV almost falls under this category, I will mostly use this term to refer to the large military drones used in war that cost millions of dollars. One of the functions of these drones is to loiter. Loitering is where a drone circles over an area to attack a target, defend its troops, or to gain surveillance. Finally, I want to make it clear that although I will be arguing for the further implementation of drones and will be comparing them to their manned counterparts, I do not believe that these UAVs should replace manned aircraft. Both types of aircraft provide aid to the U.S. in unique ways, but fall short in others. With these crucial definitions and distinctions addressed, I will now assert my claim about UAVs without further confusion. To start, I will guide you through how they fulfill the most important requirement for any weapon: offensive capabilities. Although the official mission statistics of the UAVs remain vague and disputed, we can extrapolate their usefulness based off of data on munitions and flight hours. Specifically, one of the newest and most powerful UAVs, the Reaper drone, can carry this deadly assortment of weapons on screen. Combination of AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, GBU-12 Paveway-2, GBU-38 Joint Direct Attack munitions, GBU-49 Enhanced Paveway-2, and GBU-54 Laser Joint Direct Attack munitions. And it carried these for a total of 2 million flight hours back in 2019. The ability to carry these guided missiles gives the Reaper the capability to become a formidable force on the front line. Furthermore, its 2 million flight hours proves that the U.S. has used it in countless effective missions. But the Reaper is not the only drone making waves in this new age of warfare. As a further display of the effectiveness of drones in combat, Ukrainians have pivoted to using FPV drones because of their affordable effectiveness in fending off Russia's aggressive takeover. After realizing that their UAVs that the US was giving them were getting shot out of the sky by Russia, Ukraine turned to FPV drones, strapping explosives to them, carrying them across the front lines, and barreling them into Russian targets. Because, as one Ukrainian official put it, we count people, and we want our people to be as far away from the front lines as possible. While not as glamorous or deadly as the Reaper drone, these FPV drones are so inexpensive and easy to use that one estimate says that they lose around 10,000 drones per month. This is both from Russian countermeasures and the kamikaze nature of these drones' missions. Nevertheless, these cheap, nimble drones are able to demolish costly, lethargic Russian targets such as tanks, bases, or even ships. But they serve a more important purpose than that: keeping Ukrainians off the front lines, saving lives. Drones save lives, though, not only through their offensive capabilities, but also through their defensive support to Allied troops. Because of their weapons capabilities that I showed earlier, and their loitering abilities, UAVs are able to defend infantry and vulnerable assets. Although many manned aircraft can outperform the Reaper in many missions, the Reaper has a unique tactical advantage by being able to stay in the sky for longer while still providing significant support. For example, the Reaper, whose munitions I showed earlier, can loiter in the sky for 24 hours, unlike any other aircraft. This unique capability of the Reaper allows it to protect vulnerable assets like invaluable infantry and hopeless, helpless helicopters. Furthermore, as George Patton famously said, wars may be fought with weapons, but they are won by men. So we must value these assets that protect these men's lives. When deployed, these drones supply air support when the US troops come under attack or when they attack. They also patrol the skies looking for suspicious activity, and if they find it, they attack. UAVs protect the lives of brave troops created by God, made in His image, born in His likeness. Why would we ever sacrifice such a tool? In the same way, they protect vulnerable helicopters in war zones designed to airlift wounded soldiers from combat. To get a first-hand account of UAV's defensive aid to the battlefield, I interviewed William Glover, who was deployed 3 times working on avionics systems on rescue helicopters. He explained that with our helicopters, they're very vulnerable to ground fire, so the UAVs played a crucial role in both finding and defending from threats, such as just the Taliban throwing rocks from cliffs down onto the helicopter. These rescue missions would become exponentially more dangerous without the aid of UAVs, because these UAVs help to gain knowledge of the enemy's position and provide a defense for them. We need UAVs to scour the skies. We need UAVs to protect our helicopters. We need UAVs to, above all, protect American lives. Protect the lives of our neighbors, our friends, our brothers, out on the line of battle, sacrificing their lives for our freedom. By supporting UAVs, we're supporting a tool that defends our troops unlike any other aircraft. Now, before I continue, I want to make one thing clear. Although I am arguing for UAVs, I'm not arguing against other aircraft. In fact, I have a photo of the F-22 on my desktop. No, I'm simply arguing that we need to further incorporate UAVs into our tactical plans. How can they help? Surveillance. While the men and women may be the flashpoints of war, it's often the tactics that move them that wins battles. Think of when we invaded the beaches of Normandy and surprised the Germans, turning the tide of the war. Or when we discovered the Japanese plan to invade our base at Midway, we turned it on them and won the day. Surprise is a crucial part of winning and losing wars. Surveillance minimizes surprise. Therefore, surveillance prevents major upsets. UAVs are uniquely capable of turning the tide of war because they can provide extensive surveillance with minimal risk. On an ISR mission, information surveillance and reconnaissance mission, UAV sensors can allow the on-the-ground pilot to watch individuals from an aircraft 30 to 60,000 feet in the sky. More specifically, the UV imaging is useful for in space and for tracking rockets, while the IR imaging shows heat emitted by an object, making it ideal for identifying humans in the dark. With a smaller profile than a traditional manned aircraft, UAVs can still spy with a host of targets from 60,000 feet. That means that they can spy from around 11 miles high. That's around 60 Eiffel Towers high. This is a key instrument in our tactical tool belt. Now you may ask, why is this important? This technology is crucial because of its wide range of applications, increasing its versatility. They can locate enemy bases, observe troop movements, or choose targets. This versatility allows them to know precisely where the enemy and her strengths lie, preventing them from routing our forces, routing our army, and our brothers. Now, those unfamiliar with this technology may see its many capabilities and see one problem: cost. However, UAVs cost exponentially less than traditional manned aircraft. The cost of procurement and maintenance for offensive and surveillance UAVs compared to the traditional manned counterparts mandates them as a supplemental gun in the skies. Although the highly weaponized Reaper drone pales in comparison to the destructive might of, say, the F-22 or the F-35, the lower purchasing price mandates that we must continue to pursue them. According to Medea Benjamin, author of Drone Warfare, Lockheed Martin's F-22 fighter jet costs around $150 million, while the F-35 clocks in at $90 million and the F-16, $55 million. By contrast, the 2011 price of the Predator was $5 million and the Reaper, $28.4 million. Again, while this is not the best comparison because their capabilities do differ, these manned aircraft are the most similar to these Reapers. For example, when buying a car, you could buy a $100,000 car that would outperform any $30,000 car. But the $30,000 car still does its job and saves money. Similarly, the military could buy more than 5 Reaper drones for one F-22, boosting the number of threats in the sky drastically. To further represent this cost discrepancy, let's look at 2 more aircraft with very similar capabilities: the UAV Global Hawk and its manned counterpart, P-8. A 2021 report by the Congressional Budget Office states that the acquisition costs of the Global Hawk are only 78% of the P-8. Furthermore, the operating costs of the Global Hawk compared to the P-8 are merely 62%. While this difference does not seem as drastic as that of the Reaper and the F-22, these aircraft have almost analogous capabilities, so the reduction is truly substantial. Furthermore, because there are no pilots on this Global Hawk, they can fly into more dangerous territories and prevent incidents like that of Gary Powers, the American U-2 pilot who almost started a nuclear war when he got shot down and captured. Ultimately, the lower cost of procurement and operation of these UAVs mandates them as a serious asset because they can be produced at higher quantities and still perform complex and vital missions. Another crucial aspect that we must look at when addressing the virtues of any weapon the military has is the implications of using this tool as Christians. Christians must advocate for the implementation of UAVs because as both individuals and as a country, we are called to protect the rights of the vulnerable. Not only is this philosophy rooted in Genesis, but it is also ingrained in our very nation, that every man has a natural right to self-defense and is the role, nay duty, of a nation to defend the rights of its people. The Declaration of Independence states that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, driving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Our nation is a union of people. We have come together to give it the power to work on our behalf, mandating it that it toils to enact our right of self-defense whenever a threat attempts to violate our rights. This is its purpose. But the justification for this purpose goes much deeper than just the Declaration of Independence. It's a command given to every nation in Genesis. Author, professor, and department chair for government at Liberty University, Dr. Callie Fisher explains, Adam is called to be fruitful, to multiply, and to take dominion. This implies the use of property and liberty, but is to be done in obedience to God and out of worship, not for selfish ends. Self-defense, then, should occur only as a means of restraining evil, and there may be times when fighting and military advancement are necessary to stop evil. The creation mandate tells Christians to take dominion of the world and sets a precedent for our right to property, and thus our right to defend our property. The Bible expounds on this principle by saying that we must not only protect our rights, but protect the rights of others as well. Friends, Proverbs commands us to open our mouths, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the poor and needy. God mandates that we cannot be idle, we cannot sit by, we cannot let others trample our rights or the rights of our brothers. We must take action in self-defense. God gives us our right to self-defense, and we have come together and we demand that our government must build tools to defend these rights, such as UAVs. Finally, while some may argue that we eradicate UAVs from our arsenal because they believe that they kill without emotional repercussions, the data proves this argument false. Objectors theorize that when a drone operator eliminates a target and has some casualties, they feel little to no remorse because they see these people as just characters on a screen. This phenomenon is labeled as the video game player-like mentality, in which occurrences that are typically disturbing become viewed progressively with less and less concern than our live experiences. Admittedly, I possessed the same concern before I started researching for this topic. It is terrifying that someone with the power of UAVs would feel less and less concern, as if they were just an evil character in a movie. They would go on killing, even innocent civilians, because they feel little to no remorse. However, as seen through PCL-C scores, grades for PTSD tests, drone operators have the same emotional concern in battle as other soldiers. Essentially, soldiers' emotional responses to battle can be observed through PTSD tests. We can test different branches and find that drone operators have the same emotional response. In a study performed by the Aerospace Medical Association, they found that although drone operators were underrepresented in each quartile of scores and had a lower mean PCL-C score than other enlisted members, respectively scoring 41.67 versus 44.15, ultimately, no significant difference in PCL-C scores was observed when comparing drone operators with others. While these drone operators did have less risk of PTSD, the difference was ultimately minimal. Thus, they still have the same emotional ties to their actions in battle. With the same emotional connections to their actions, there is no risk of elevated casualties due to a lack of remorse. The world is changing quickly, and with change comes the transformation of wartime technologies, sparking passionate debates centered on the morality of these novel weapons. Among them, drones. Although drones have continuously proven themselves as crucial instruments in modern militaries and can be ethically implemented, some stubbornly protest their use. They ignore how drones can win wars through autonomous offensive missions. They can loiter, protecting other machinery and human lives. They can provide a unique tactical advantage without sacrificing cost or human involvement. They simply save lives. But what can you do with this knowledge? I'm not going to tell you to go become a senator or start an aviation company simply to implement more drones. No, I believe William Glover said it best. We need to encourage, especially our political class, and keep them accountable and make sure that they're doing their due diligence in incorporating laws that are up to speed with modern technologies, that they're incorporating morals and ethics into these types of decisions in these laws. We must stay informed about these pivotal new technologies, not become rocked by surface-level arguments that could change your stance, change the stance of the president, prompting him to remove UAVs from our arsenal. Because using this equipment does not make us merchants of death, it helps us remain protectors of life. Thank you.